My dad and I are in a race to win the Bundesliga with a team from East Germany. However, we started the challenge from the third tier, and we have to do this before RB Leipzig do. Because with them also being from East Germany, we can't afford to let them win the race to the Bundesliga trophy. By season 3, we have made it to the Bundesliga and survived in 12th from 13th, while Leipzig are still some way off the top. Season 4 is where things were very difficult as Dad's Dresden side continued their growing success and finished well, while my Rostock side barely survived in the league after just finishing a point away from safety. But the summer started horribly for Dad as Ivan Toney, who he signed just last season, had a release clause activated and refused to sign a new deal. He left swiftly, but it did allow Dad to have a big transfer budget as he then added £30 million to signing new targets. And that's exactly what he did. He spread the money well, first of all bringing in Del Prato, who covers multiple defensive positions. Suso then came in defensive midfield, a player that only cost £5.8 million, but can also cover multiple positions and is only 22. Jamil Siebert next, also from Dusseldorf, and the defender looks good for just his £3.6 million price tag. But there was still more to come, and Dad signed yet another centre-back, as well as a goalkeeper, but there was still a hole up front from Tony's departure. Meanwhile, my transfers with much more of a smaller budget started to come through, beginning with a goalkeeper on a free transfer. Patrick Pfeiffer then joined soon after with just £3.6 million, and he will likely go straight into my Rostock back four, which really needed improving. Dad's changed his system, seen a new winger join from Udinese, and finally striker targets is next. His first option was signed as Cameron Archer joined the club, but he wasn't Dad's main target. That was in fact Anton Matkovic, but Dad unfortunately lost his signature as he went to Cologne instead, but Dad had a backup plan. Because he went for Ilyas Ansar, who just one season ago left my Hansa Rostock side to move to Wolfsburg, where he's only scored one goal since. I was continuing to secure my defence, signing Simic, who I had loaned last season, and I was switching things up tactically and opting to go for a formation with 3 players down the right hand side, with 2 new signings in Van Uwijk and Lazaro coming in. Dad's new system has adopted a 4-4-2 with 2 defensive midfielders, hence the wingers that he's brought in. And the first game of the season was wild as Naderi scored a hat-trick for Rostock against Bremen. Unfortunately, it came in a 5-4 loss at home, which was certainly unexpected. And it seems like defensively we are letting ourselves down while Naderi can't stop scoring. Meanwhile, Dad had a really tough start away to Bayern Munich, but scored pretty much from kickoff and then somehow managed to keep a clean sheet to pick up all 3 points. And with his good start to the season, we just gotta hope he hasn't allowed Leipzig to get a head start, as they currently sit top of the league. Right, Dad, a weird start to the season. Leipzig are top, so we're a little bit like, I mean, it's very early days.
Yeah, it's early days, yeah.
But
I'm
Bayern
only
Munich,
a point behind them. Yeah,
Bayern Munich have drew and lost one. Thanks to you, obviously. You beat them, which is a great result for you. You're currently sat in 5th.
How did I do that?
Yeah. I'm only sat with 1 point. But if we're looking at like my results, actually, I'm not actually too worried about it. A 5-4 against Werder Bremen. Just bad defensively, but they had a penalty. All right, it could have been worse. But 2-2 away from home against Gladbach isn't too bad. A loss to Frankfurt, we all know how good they are. So, I ain't worried yet.
You've got an odd couple of games coming up, though.
That's the trouble.
So you could lose 2 more and get sacked?
I could, yeah. I doubt they'd sack me that early, but... And in December...
Oh, both the teams are together.
2 very important games in December. So I need to book my ideas up in these 2 months here before we go. But I think transfer-wise, I had an okay summer. I didn't improve my strike force, but I kind of put my trust in Naderi. And boy, has he repaid me with the amount of goals he's got at the start of the season. Yeah. But I think changing my system this season to this 3 on the right-hand side, which I have been known to do recently. We've got Mayen, who I've been introducing into the first team already. Lazaro joined on a free transfer, as did Van Uwijk. 2 really good signings who can both work down that right-hand side. So I'm interested to see how it does anyway. Berisha, of course, bringing him in last season, didn't do too well with just 3 goals. I'm hoping he can have a better season this time round. That was my only concern, really, with my strike force, was maybe I would need that. But looking at yours, Dad, the big loss, of course, was Ivan Toney going.
Yeah, it was, but you expect that. I mean, I'm happy with the money I got.
31 million from a free transfer in 1 year.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it ain't bad.
It helped me out a little bit. So, yeah, I'm disappointed but happy because it gives me the money to sort of strengthen the squad, I feel.
Yeah, you definitely did that. You brought in quite a few good players. And replacing him, of course, you brought in Caminacci, who's good.
Yeah, I mean, he can be really good as well. So, yeah, fingers crossed he can hit the ground running.
But then, of course, my old striker, Ilyas Ansah.
And I know he can do it in this league because he's done it for you. So, yeah. It's sort of like I bought 2 good strikers, I feel, and a couple of other players for the money that Ivan Toney sort of went out for. So, it was a good deal for me, really.
Yeah, the last season he had for me, he had 16 goals in the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Which was our first year in the league. Which ain't bad at all, because we were basically playing with a lot of players from the 3rd division. No, if you remember rightly. Our squads weren't that good. Yeah. So 16 goals that season was great. Obviously, I lost him last year to Wolfsburg. He only got 1 goal for them. He only played 4 starts.
Yeah, so they didn't sort of like start him. But I mean, I might not even start him soon. But I'm hoping he'll do well for me, though. Yeah,
you're rocking a 4-4-2.
Yeah. He's there. He's starting, so he could be good.
Yeah, and obviously results have been great for you, but we just gotta hope we kind of make sure Leipzig don't get any better.
Yeah.
And see where we end up, because right now we're at either ends of the table. I need some catching up to do, so let's find out what happens. Thankfully, Dad was also not letting Leipzig off the hook when they travelled to Dresden, as Dad's side was relentless and didn't even let them have a shot on target. The day that Leipzig came to Rostock, however, might as well have been my best performance of the season, as we were so clinical and battered them 6-1 despite only having 6 shots on target. However, that was also the same result as when I played Dad's Dresden side literally in the next game. How embarrassing. So although we could give that kind of result, we also took it more than once. But the league has one outstanding name near the top, and as it stands, it's Dynamo Dresden sat in 3rd place. They even did the double over RB Leipzig, winning the away tie 2-0 as well. And Dad's side even won a big quarter-final of the DFB-Pokal, but also look who won theirs and is now in the semi-final against none other than Leipzig in what I think is an all-East German semi-final stage. But which one of these clubs will go on to reach the final and lift my favourite looking trophy? Well, Dad's team was first in their semi-final and they got the job done, defeating Union Berlin 2-0 to reach the final. I unfortunately fell behind against Leipzig in my semi-final thanks to a back post headed corner. But in the second half, we got ourselves back in the game thanks to a very well worked throw-in and to score at the back post, and a penalty shortly after gave us the lead, which we held on to, meaning we go through to the final of the DFB-Pokal to face Dad, and it's Dresden versus Rostock. The match after the semi-final, we played Leipzig in the league and ironically got nubbed 9-2. The Friday after, though, under the lights, we did play Dad before our cup final and take the lead with a well-worked goal, only to be paid back from the spot. But after that, we have just 2 games remaining, and that leaves Dad in 2nd place for now, already behind champions Bayern, while I'm sat enjoying 6th place. However, both of us lost our last 2 fixtures and slipped down to a more modest position in the league. I'm sure neither of us would care, though, if we were the ones to lift the DFB-Pokal trophy. And in Berlin, the final didn't take long to heat up, as a fantastic cross from Lazaro was met by Naderi to open the score in just 18 minutes in. But just 8 minutes later, and Dad's Dresden side are pulling things level with a header of their own. Dad then took the lead from the penalty spot, but 10 minutes after that, Schmidt is pulling it level to send the game into extra time. But as extra time got underway, it wasn't long before the winner was scored from Andreas Müller in a Hansa Rostock shirt, and the DFB-Pokal trophy has Hansa Rostock's name on it for the very first time in its history. The irony, by the way, of when we finally get to a cup final, we're both in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant, really, isn't it? Yeah, so...
The draw being that good for us, but come on, Rostock, what a win! Andreas Müller in the 94th minute. It was a very back and forth game as well.
Yeah.
And it was close. I took the lead, you scored within 10 minutes. You took the lead, I scored within 10 minutes. Went to extra time in the 94th minute, Andreas Müller with the goal. But fair play.
Yeah, I mean, it was
a cracking final.
It was an evening game as well. You look at the possession as well. There was only a couple of points in that as well. So
yeah,
very even game.
Very even.
So, yeah, well done, mate. Yeah.
On the day, I just picked you at that one. But in the league,
I'm
though...
just glad one of us has won it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's not the end of the challenge, of course. The end of the challenge is win the Bundesliga. This is just a nice thing to do. And it's my favourite looking trophy on the planet. So I'm happy of winning that DFB-Pokal trophy, and I will sleep well with that in my bed tonight. Absolutely. But in the league, Dad, I mean, with 2 games remaining, you were second. You threw it away.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
With 2 bad results. I also lost the last 2 games as well. We're now both in the Europa League next season, so it would be nice. Maybe we meet in the final of that one as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I dropped down to 9th place from 6th. You dropped down to 5th place from 2nd. Frankfurt picked you into 2nd place.
I'd have never caught Bayern. So, I mean, look how far away they were.
They were
16 points. So,
like 2 months
I
before.
don't mind too much because it sort of like kept me out of the Champions League and got into the UEFA Cup. So that does me a little bit of a favour as well. I could come through and win that one.
Showing your age now, calling it the UEFA Cup.
Oh, yeah, the Europa League Cup,
But the 3 teams above you, all on 60 points.
Yeah.
All in the Champions League spots. But the good thing is, not one of them was Leipzig.
Yeah, definitely.
They're down in 8th place on the same points as me. But I get the European football and they don't.
Yeah, even better, hey?
So we've made them a lot worse at this point, which is obviously our intention. Now, if we're looking at player statistics, you would suggest that I would be higher than 9th because I had 2 of the top 4 goal scorers with 18 and 15. Berisha was also up there with the highest average rating. I was slagging him off at the start of the season. Well, not slagging him off, but saying how he needs to be better.
Yeah.
Both our strikers are there. We've also got Naderi with 5 man of the matches. You've got your keeper in terms of the clean sheets. But Lazaro, 15 assists for the right midfielder that I got for a free transfer. So they've been really good. But obviously, the cup win was the highlight for me this season. Berisha with the top scorer there. On your side of things, Dad, we've got Bielik with 18 goals. The same amount, pretty much. And runner-up, unfortunately.
Still a good season. Was he? So
no, not to begin with.
No.
Not to begin with. But yeah, still a solid season. He was the only striker to actually get above 10. Answer, only getting 5.
Disappointed with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, you'd think, how the hell did I nearly finish 2nd?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
he didn't even have that many injuries either.
No.
Just didn't play as much as what you anticipated.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm not happy with that. The amount of goals that I've scored, I'm not happy with that at all. I'd like to score more goals than that.
You got 40 million though.
Pleased with that.
40 million to change things
how
up.
far forward we've moved now. Get into that Bundesliga and you start getting a bit of money.
Exactly, yeah. European football as well. So that's obviously a big positive. Finances, you got £67 million in there. No debts alone. So that's obviously really good. On my side of things, 21 goals from Berisha, which I'm really happy with. He's 30 and wanted. And he's unhappy. What is he unhappy with? Wants him. He's gone, isn't he?
Yeah.
Already wants to move. He's wanted 30. That's him gone.
100%.
Yeah. I'll drop in there myself. Brighton, Alveda, and Al Fatah.
Get in my car. Where do you want to go?
Yeah. I won't drop him to Saudi. Like, maybe to Brighton. He'll have a nice little weekend there. See a couple of friends who live nearby. But, he can drive himself to Saudi Arabia. He'll be paid enough, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Naderi was 17.
It's good.
Really happy with that. I mean, he's wanted as well, I believe. But I ain't going to get rid of him. The same 2 clubs as well, which is quite funny. So I just need to find a replacement if I do intend to sell Berisha, possibly. But the nice little bit of development on Yannick Mine again, not bad.
Yeah, he's looking good now.
Yeah, even though I finished down in 9th place in the Bundesliga, I did quite like this formation.
Well, I couldn't handle it in the final, could I?
Well, that's it.
It's too overbalanced for me.
Yeah. Ironically, though, obviously, my cup run, we mentioned it earlier, but a 2-1 win against the semi-final against Leipzig and then losing 9-2. It's just really funny.
Oh,
especially when earlier on in the season, I beat them 6-1, then lose to you 6-1. It's just so weird how that played out. I was the most inconsistent team ever. If you look at this January here, 2-1 win, 3-0 win, 2-0 win, 2-0 win, 7-1 loss. Like, what is...
I think your defence went on holiday that day, didn't they?
Yeah, what happened there, lads? Like, pretty much that's my first team as well. Awful. I've got £27 million. Good amount again.
Well,
good amount.
You're going to have a couple of million for Mehdi as well, don't you?
30 million for your striker. If he goes as well, just short of 50 million in the bank. So, plenty to do this summer. But I've got myself a trophy. I began the summer signing a young striker from Leipzig who looks ultra talented for just £12 million, but only 21, and has all the makings of a very good goal scorer. Dan is also signing a marquee striker as well as he welcomes a young Argentinian, 6'7", with crazy attributes in pace, agility, and dribbling and finishing for just 5.6 million. He is on fire right now as signings, as he's also bringing in Romeo Lavia to Dresden too, as well as Broderic for just £5 million, who is a first-team left-back that goes straight into his starting 11. I was excited by my own signing of Eric Martel for just £8 million, as my defensive midfielders need some competition. But I did miss out on signing Mavropanos, who opted to stay at West Ham instead of signing for me. And while I was losing a centre-back target, Dad was signing one for £7 million. There's a lot of interest and bids for Berisha Berisha after his great season, and I decided to cash in on the 30-year-old. And that's because I discovered a cracking young striker from Mexico for roughly the same price, who is only really lacking pace at the minute. I realised I lost my left back as well, so I needed to bring in two as I didn't have an out-and-out one, which is a problem looking at our squad. Daz decided to switch up his tactic, which I thought was a bit bizarre, but opted for his favourite three up front with two DMs. I then lost my right back after a release clause was activated, which meant I had to be back into the transfer market. However, it turned out it wasn't necessary in the end, as he decided to commit his future and stay with a new contract. Dad still had money left over and spent big on bringing in Bišek to the club as a better centre-back option for his Dresden side. Super Cup time though, and Hector Nava is scoring a brace against Bayern Munich in a 4-2 win on his debut. And we keep that run going with a good win away from home with our opening fixture. Dan, on the other hand, is struggling as he loses against Bayern Munich in his first match despite new striker scoring. But it's a really tough start as he also picks up a loss against Leipzig this early on and is sat in 14th place as the window shuts when I'm sat in 5th. Alright Dan, a bit of a completely opposite season at the start than what we had last time. I believe we were really in similar positions.
Yeah, it was,
I won 2 of my fixtures, lost the one against Schalke, but you only managed to pick up 1 win against Heidenheim, losing to both Leipzig and Bayern Munich.
It's too bad. Two big teams to lose against, so I'm not too worried about it at this present moment. Early days.
But you say that, both of them are below me. So, Naderi's also at the top scorer at the minute with the highest average rating of an 8.34. He's having a wonderful time. But of course, we mentioned at the end of last season, possible departures. They happened. Looking on your side of things, Dad, the players that you brought in, I mean, we've got to start with this lad.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Diego.
Scout's done well finding this boy for me.
Yeah, 6'7".
Yeah. At 20, and he's already that good.
Yeah.
And his ability is just to get better again. So, yeah.
Looks fantastic already.
He does,
He's off to the mark against Bayern Munich, so
definitely
really
thinking
good
about locking him in, I think.
Yeah. And then Romeo Lavia, I think, is also a good player that you've managed to bring in, especially for his age. You know, he's been around for a while.
Yeah.
If you think about real life, but it's because he's so young when he burst onto the scene.
That's right, yeah.
So, yeah, good start to the season in terms of the transfers. But the switch up of tactic did throw me off slightly. I know you mentioned the change because of the goals, but I thought you got to a cup final and you got to, 5th place in the league?
I just felt that it just next step up. And I think probably getting this young striker in made me think, I want to lock him in. But do I really want to lose the other 2 strikers? You know, one of the other 2 strikers. And you know what I'm like? If I've got 3 good strikers in my team, I will go for this tactic. So
you've arguably got 5 because you've also got Dia on the bench.
That's right.
Who's good?
So I know
Cameron Archer.
So I know if I go 3, I've got 2 reserves in there, which are good strikers as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I always do, don't I? If I go 3 up front, I've always got another 2, and I already had that by getting this 1 striker in. And I feel that my midfield's quite good, really. Mm-hmm. So it was just, for me, it was screaming at really to go with this tactic. So that's what I've done. I feel that the advanced playmaker right behind him, he's good as well. So and then I got 2 DMs. So I'm quite happy with that.
Okay. Well, I haven't changed my tactic. I was quite enjoying what I put on yesterday. I think I tweaked a role or an instruction to allow Nava. So I've changed these 2 around up front. So Naderi is still a target forward, but Nava, who is left-footed, is the advanced forward because it suits him. And obviously that is one of the players that I brought in from Berisha's departure. Hector Nava, £8.5 million. Hasn't scored yet, only played 2 games, but of course I also brought in Tidiam Gomez from RB Leipzig. So he scored 4 goals from last season. I think he actually scored a goal against me when they battered me 9-2.
I think everybody did, didn't they?
Yeah, everybody just come on down, have a free shot. But no, I picked him up. Surprisingly, he actually wanted to come to me after that result. £12 million. It ain't bad at all. So we'll see if he gets some game time and see which one becomes more of a dominant force up there with Naderi. But I'm happy with sticking with this, to be honest. Cup winners. We're both obviously in the Europa League. Let's take a look at our Europa League fixtures. We haven't looked at that yet. First time in Europe for both of us. I've got Roma, which is a bit of a difficult one in there.
It's not too bad after that, though, is it?
Yeah, it's all right. As long as there's a certain French team that I can't see, well, we're all good.
Turn up somewhere,
they will show up at some point. I'm sure they do, the bloody rats. You're always 6 feet away from them, as they say, innit? Europa League, for you, Dad, you've got Chelsea away from home on the final day. You've certainly got the harder fixtures.
The 2 last games are quite hard, actually.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've got to do the business before I get to there. Really,
the first one, no easy contest
side
either,
as well.
is it?
Marseille are a good side as well. So there's a few games in there I should win, but there's a few games that are going to be difficult for me.
Yeah, away to Red Star.
Yeah, I've just got to hope that what I'd class as the easier games, I get the result, and going away to Red Star is not going to be easy, but hopefully I'll get a result there.
All right then, well, let's see what happens. Can we qualify for Europe? Can we get even closer to that Bundesliga title? The first fixture of the season between our two clubs was once again a goal fest, and landing in my favour in a 4-3 win. Against Leipzig, I found myself 2-0 down, but managed to pull it back with 2 very late goals, and the equaliser itself coming in the 94th minute. We were, of course, both enjoying our first season in Europe, and in the Europa League phase, it was good for both of us, as we finish in the top 8 and go through to the round of 16 automatically. Domestically, Dad is struggling though, and he's lost to Leipzig again 3-0. But what's really scary about it is they are currently level on points at the top of the league table with Leverkusen for the Bundesliga title, while Dad has slumped down to 12th place, and weirdly Ryan Naderi is running away with the Golden Boot. He also had the most goals in the Europa League too, as both Dad and I have reached the quarterfinals but faced 2 tough Premier League oppositions. Leipzig has thankfully dropped off slightly in form, but Naderi hasn't, as he's just banged in his 25th league goal in 27 games. Despite defeating Manchester United in Germany, I still unfortunately lost 5-4 on aggregate in the Europa League quarters. Dad, on the other hand, was battered 5-0 across both legs. Naderi kept up the goals through getting another one in a 2-0 win against Leipzig, which helped not only my Rostock side qualify for Europa League again, but to make sure Leipzig didn't get back into the Champions League. Oh, and Naderi won the Golden Boot by 12 goals. Well, I think those little tactical tweaks really benefited
Didn't work for me, did it?
Not benefited you.
No.
Because changing the little tweak I did for Naderi up front in that target forward role instead of being over here in the target forward role, I didn't think he'd be the goal scorer out of the two then. No. I thought it'd be more of like, the hold-up guy.
He's won that by a mile as well, hasn't he?
The 12 goals with the Golden Boot.
Almighty.
Mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. I'm also
really
pretty
good.
sure now, he's 1 goal away from 100. And if you remember rightly, the very first season, I didn't have a striker, and this young lad was a 19-year-old in my youth academy. Now look at him. He's in the Bundesliga. He's won the Golden Boot, scoring 30 goals. I've never heard of him before. I wonder if you have. But Ryan Don Naderi, the Don.
It's going to be in the 100 club.
Unbelievable, yeah.
The Bundesliga.
He's going to score 100 goals for me next season, unless I sell him. Which would be hilarious. But there we go. He's also played against Manchester United. We got knocked out the quarterfinal. Oh. Cracking tie. You were destroyed, by the way, in the quarterfinal of your stage 5-0 on aggregate.
We got both done by the English teams.
It's a difficult one, but yeah, I didn't even get very far at all in DFB-Pokal after winning it last year. Second round by Munster, who is in the third tier. The third tier knocked me out there. Really good. I don't think you got very far either. Second round again, Bochum. Yeah, we're focused on Europe.
It's what happens. Your assistant takes over, and then that cup he just rests everybody, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like you say, the Europa League takes over then.
But what are your thoughts on this? Because it hasn't worked.
It didn't work. No, I agree. I'll definitely change it again. I will definitely change it because
the tinker man wants to tinker.
Usually, I would stick with it and go with it, but I felt the 3 strikers I had up there were good enough to score the goals to keep you up. I mean, I don't know how many goals did they actually score.
Bielek got 20.
Right.
So he was the top scorer for you.
So they did.
Your new guy got 15, which is quite good.
So they did score goals between them. So I got them into the double figures each one of them.
Answer again, only 8.
Yeah, that's my biggest disappointment. I think if he had done better, I think we would have done better. But obviously, that could be where I could be changing it.
Yeah.
Just go to the other 2 guys up front and change it somewhere behind then. So
all right. Well, money wise, you got £19 million to do so.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad considering the season was a big flop compared to last year.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they've given me yet. 28 million, so a little bit more.
Well, you deserve that. You finished higher in the league,
in Europe,
and you're in Europe again.
Yeah, thanks to as well a great end of the season where I seen Dortmund and Frankfurt away from home, and I thought, well, that's me out of Europe.
Yeah. 2 good draws,
2 very good draws, and obviously beating Leipzig as well 2-0 on the way, which, by the way, They still finish it above me, but they're nowhere near the top. I say nowhere near.
Only 8
the
points.
It's the very close at the top, look, by a goal.
I mean, you look at that, though. I'm saying I had a bad season. You give me 2 points. Look where I would have finished. 8th.
Yeah.
So it then looks like I'm not that bad of a season. Then I was quite close to you then. So I wasn't far off, but I'm still disappointed, though.
Give me 13 points, I'd have won the league.
Yeah.
With that logic.
Yeah, but I'm only talking about 2 points, and that would have put me in 8th.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
All right.
We're nowhere near relegation, which is the main thing.
That's it.
We're stable in that league now.
Yeah.
Which is what we wanted to be, and I think we just got to slowly build the squads, and then we're going to be pushing.
We're going to be challenging at some point.
We're going to be pushing there. Yeah.
Well, could it be next season? Depends on recruitment, I guess. Let's find out who we bring in. So yes, we head into season number 7 with Dad kicking himself about his tactical change in the race to win the Bundesliga.